Michael Ringtail here, your human observer. Rocky Mountain Furcon is canceled due to a series of events. Many speculated it had to do with the tax evasion for 6 years, but that has actually been resolved according to convention staff and confirmed by the Denver Post and Daily Beast reports. No, instead, come have a seat and witness the Hume shit show that was a perfect storm of threats, mislabeling, and financial strain on the convention. The people that are key players in this are Dio Tazdevil, the Furry Raiders group, the staff, and Kendall. I had the fleshy meat sack Crafty Andy talk with the two people involved in this mess, Foxler, founder of the Furry Raiders, and Dio Tazdevil.
I've been having, fucking Denver 7 channel news is at my house today. Fuck Christ.
What?
Yes.
What was that about?
We're in the news on mainstream Denver news right now, so.
You or the Furry Raiders?
RMFC, Furry Raiders, neo-Nazi, sex offenders, and everything else you can plug into that.
Plug it in, plug it in.
I don't mind getting the story out, and I don't mind all the contact either. It's just I never wanted all the eyes on the fandom on me. It's kind of nice to be in the shadows. I just buy my art and do my own thing. Once you get popular, because I'm friends with people who are more popular artists.
Yeah.
But once you reach that level, like, all sorts of crazy shit will always follow you around.
The full interviews are linked down below. Now, where do we start? Dio makes a Twitter post threatening to physically assault Furry Raiders and calling them a group of Nazis. She claims this was a joke. Where's the joke? You're threatening to punch people for being part of the Furry Raiders group, who you decided are Nazis. Now, Olivia responds with the idea it would be amusing to see her get shot in the process. Dio interprets this as a gun threat, though the consensus says otherwise, including me. The Twitter is deleted and it appears people are going their merry way, or so it seems. Now let's comment on this Twitter a little bit. You threaten to punch people, and the response is, it'd be amusing to see you get shot by someone defending themselves. Well, I admit, it's not amusing to see someone get shot or die or whatever. But nonetheless, it was not, I'm going to get a gun and I'm going to come and shoot you. It wasn't as explicit as, say, I'm going to punch some Nazis. Unfortunately, people on Dio's side and people on the Furry Raider side just can't let things go and leave these people to their little bubbles as they bicker back and forth when really the fact is there are no hardcore neo-Nazis in your little furry fandom. And any real ones stepping into a convention would surely die of a brain aneurysm overwhelmed with the stench of faggotry and white genocide. Now let's get into this furry news. Furry news, I can't say it with a straight face. Furry news site. Okay, furry news site. Right off the bat with this article, we have claims of gifting and grooming people to join the group. How? Oh, the founder bought out a theater so about 100 furries were able to get together and watch Zootopia for free. Are you sure it was Zootopia? You sure it wasn't Birth of a Nation? And for what I gathered from Foxler's discussion is that he hosts a number of events spending his own money, and because he has an armband and made some tweets that are satire and have a lot of missing context, he's recruiting people to some alt-right neo-Nazi group that makes no such clear and official statements in any of the posts these humans have showed me, especially not on their official website. And really, how could they be a neo-Nazi group when they welcome anyone, no matter what skin color you are, no matter what political stance you have? In the end, it's a fucking armband that people have interpreted to be Nazi propaganda.
This is the issue. This is the reason why people are thinking that, I'm grooming people, is because the fact that about 60% of my income that I make goes into Furry Raiders and events and just being kind of like generally kind in general. Our first event was Zootopia private screening, and I bought out the theater, 135 seats, all free.
Nice.
And that's the first day I wore the fursuit with our band. Well, that was the first time Foxler was ever public with the fandom as a whole like that. And at first, everything was super great. Next day, they were like, "Oh my God, I hugged a Nazi. I feel so violated." I'm like, "Huh?" So as I continue putting more money into Raiders, providing free rooms for my guests and stuff at RMFC, they feel that spending this money as a whole is grooming people because I have it. Well, there's nothing wrong with how I use my money.
It's an interesting observation here, but it seems the thing that some of these furries hate more than themselves and each other is money, and those who have it. I personally know a furry who got kicked out of groups for simply being a successful programmer. I'm not fucking kidding. A group of local furs in one state found out the kind of job another furry does and kicked him out for being a scumfuck that likely got his job over screwing over people and that it was just handed to him for having white skin. And when you don't accept that logic, you are immediately ostracized from those types of groups. Never mind, he was working on his skill for over 10 years. I've had furries with their property vandalized over having a sexual fantasy people don't share, or simply having nice things they worked for and dare to be proud of it. It amazes me how the only confirmation for conclusions and assumptions humans jump to oftentimes involves talking to everyone else except for the people they declare they have a problem with. They proudly declare their biases and lack of willingness to figure shit out for themselves and instead circle jerk around in online forums all day or their small group of friends at gatherings. Basically, the ones actively crusading against the Furry Raiders fall into this generation of people that don't seem to feel complete unless they have a cartoonish enemy to fight.
Because the persona was already created, everything was already done. I had no knowledge about Nazism.
Yeah.
It was just a Second Life item I found. The armband looked good. I put my persona together, and I was like, "Ooh, I like this." And then as time progressed, people started pointing paws at me, or fingers if you're not furry. But they started putting on these stigmas, and I was like, no.
I have to ask, too, is this what Hitler envisioned? Grown human adults dressing as animals with armbands, drawing and jerking off to borderline zoophilia porn, and most of them fucking each other in the ass?
So I decided to go out and look for real neo-Nazis. So I learned very quickly when I did that. They were like, "Are you white?" No. And they're like, "What is this armband fursuit? Why are you dressed up as a fox with an armband?" And he's like, "Oh, it's furry." And then they look into it like, "There's a huge gay community." You're a fucking mutt and get the fuck out of here. And that's pretty much how they treated me. And I'm just like, okay, well, you go do your thing, I do my thing.
That went as expected, right? Yeah.
And do any of these humans that like to dress up as other animals have the balls or the ovaries to confront said people in person? Nope. Now, Dio thought this was said and done. She decided to move on with her life because, according to her, she had better shit to do.
Or about the
I
con
didn't
at
care.
this point. Yeah, you forgot all about it. Like, it's over. It's done with.
Yeah, I
Like,
made a joke. I reported a thing, but it was Twitter, so I'm like, oh, some asshole says they're gonna bring a gun. Okay, well, I'd probably better report that, but it's fucking Twitter, so...
Right.
From what I gathered, there continued to be posts calling for the expelling of Furry Raiders and anyone who thought themselves up as a Furry Raider, and defenders coming back with similar threats. All the while, idiots going back and forth fueling the fire. Well, two people decided to just not simply let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
Months later, Dio gets doxxed and she receives this fucking crazy letter.
To Dio Tazdevil, regarding lawful order to cease and desist. I am the board of directors of the Mid-American Anthropomorphic Arts Corporation and the directors of Rocky Mountain Furcon. I am in possession of what appears as false statements issued by you against our organizations and your other potentially damaging criminal activities, causing substantial commercial injury damages against us.
Excuse me, you think maybe you could repeat that?
Causing substantial commercial injury damages against us.
What the fuck? I promise I'll never do drugs again, Dad.
What the hell is that? And ours and possible other plaintiffs, including but not limited to Furry Raiders, BLFC, 2 Griffin, and many others yet to be discovered and named in a possible class action lawsuit as we continue to investigate these potential crimes. Our investigation has revealed that you are spreading false information about RMFC and your Twitter feed under the title of Dio Tazdevil. Many of your statements are along the lines of "can't wait to punch these Nazis" and "RMFC is a Nazi con," or still zero response from RMFC staff. And encouraging other statements such as watching you get shot by someone. Just to name a few of these potential defamation damages and criminal activities such as creating an entire meme and public opinion that we are something that we are not, which may rise to the level of felonious activities, including but not limited to your actions and writing of threats of violence against a class of people through a wire service across national borders, inciting a riot or incite to riot. Impairment of contract obligations between conventions, performers, and venues. Trespass on contract obligations. Libel, written assault, defamation. Libel, false accusation. Other potential criminal activities currently under investigation which we may report to the FBI. You have requested a response, and our response is we do not tolerate criminal activities such as promoting violence. We will cooperate with the authorities and prosecute apparent criminals to the fullest extent of contract and criminal law. This letter is an order to cease and desist apparent defamation and criminal activities currently under our investigation, which may, at our discretion, be reported to the proper authorities such as FBI and local law enforcement. Failure to comply with this order may result in administrative remedy procedures against you per the law. United States Code, Title 5, Section 500. To perfect commercial lien claims against your property, including but not limited to vehicles, buildings, real estate, other real property, as opposed to unreal property, bank accounts, and wages to recoup damages against our properties. Further, this letter constitutes an official ban of your attendance at Rocky Mountain Furcon, which you are not attending anyways. If you register and send a registration fee, your registration will be canceled and you will forfeit your registration fee. If there are any objections to the finding of these facts and law of this order, please respond within 10 days. Otherwise, your silence, acquiescence is acceptable per the law of qui tacit consentire vitur, and further actions in violation of this order shall also be prosecuted to the full extent of these many laws. I am the law. Very sincerely, Kendall, Chief Executive Contract Law Officer for Air Midwest, Anthropomorphics Arts Corporation, and a subsidiary, Rocky Mountain Furcon.
What the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this shit?
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is this? An act of intimidation?
I had to go to the post office and then sign for it 4 times because it's a certified letter.
Making an entire meme is what really busted my gut.
Which at this point, I hadn't even made a meme. I'm like, I'm gonna make all sorts of fucking memes now, bitch. All the fucking memes. You are gonna regret putting that in this letter. I'm gonna have 1,000 memes. All my meme children will meme the hell out of you.
At first, the impression is the con sanctioned this letter. They even named 2 as a potential plaintiff, who had nothing to do with this. The staff had nothing to do with this. It was all Kendall. I think the majority of those involved with this have no intention on suing anyone. The writer of this article then pulls an ad hominem attack on Kendall, who is not part of the con, by pulling up a 24-year-old conviction, making the writer of this letter 30 at the time, for a sex offense, proving once again why there shouldn't be a registry. I don't know this individual in any way. From what I've been told by people who know him, though, personally, Kendall stepped out of a shower, some minors saw him, parents were told, police were called, charges were filed, and probably pleaded down. This is what I was told, and when I checked into Colorado law regarding this misdemeanor charge, it fits under the type of scenario that has been described to me. As far as the public is concerned, though, if you're on the registry, then it automatically means you must like shoving big purple dildos into newborns. That is my educated guess from my research on the registry as a whole, and those who have had nothing but grief their entire lives for things they did as children and teens in some cases. Setting aside relevancy and assuming complete 100% wrongdoing, you're telling me a person should not be able to live down something they did in the past? Why stop at sex offenders? Why not include petty thievery? Same mentality. This guy stole something in the past, so he's likely to steal again. Watch your stuff. And then if it turns out to be a minority running an event, watch them implode over an SJW paradox. Point is, what does a 24-year-old conviction have to do with anything relating to convention staff and how the convention is run? It doesn't. Kendall stepped down after its first year in 2008 because of stupid shit like this, and really, that's the end of it. Bringing up Scorch's wacky beliefs and taste in porn doesn't hold any bearing at all either when it comes to the topic at hand. It's the same tactics used when it comes to things like the recent United Airlines passenger being beaten and then all of a sudden, oh look, it was okay for him to be beaten and forcefully removed from the plane because over 10 years ago, he was convicted of a crime and temporarily lost his medical license. However, the detractors hold a mentality that if you don't expel the Raiders, if you don't automatically hate them over a fucking armband, you are in support of Nazis. Which is funny because the tactic of labeling a person and dismissing any position they may have was something actual racists and Nazis and homophobes used to do to me when I started arguing for gay rights. Oh, he's just a fag or a Jew. Or you don't have to listen to him. He's just catering to that Jewish agenda. Nothing he says matters. He has no bearing. He has no proof. Fuck him. And go back even further, you could possibly lose your job and career. if you are in support of gay rights or being gay yourself. It would be easy for me to point at one thing and scream like a fucking body snatcher. But it's never that simple. That doesn't stop people though from doing just that, when it would be better to just shut up and not end up feeling foolish down the road. I could point at the con chairman, Dio, Foxler, Kendall, but really the only blame I can see laying anywhere is on those who continue to feed the fire of the situation. In other words, everyone's to fucking blame. Harassing the Furry Raiders over their attire, others playing up the label of Nazi for the lulz, making artwork that suggests Furry Raiders should be punched, solidifying the Nazi label, harassing and threatening people and making baseless claims.
So everybody's threatening everybody. There's a huge mess. There's threats coming from all sides. Everybody's threatening to kill each other and bring guns. So of course the hotel's like, we need police, and a lot of them.
While in turn attacking people that are labeled as Nazis and not actual Nazis. Writing up a threatening letter with intent on intimidating someone into silence when they were not even attending the convention and was done with the whole situation according to them. This whole thing is a shit show, while furries and animals like me just sit back, watch, going, what the fuck? Let's close this up. A group of people are wrongfully labeled as Nazis over a fucking armband that is missing the Nazi part. It comes in fucking red, black, blue, rainbow, for fuck's sakes. You know, did the toy soldiers of Dr. Steele's army face similar backlash? Or if you cosplay as an Imperial Guard from the Warhammer 40k universe, it kinda looks like a World War II outfit from Germany. Are you a fucking Nazi? What the fuck is wrong with you? We have people on both sides bickering over nothing, making threats. Furry Raiders are threatened, convention staff is threatened, non-raiders are threatened, a convention is forced to close due to unforeseen and unaffordable costs, due to paying back their taxes and being told they need to fork over money to pay for private security due to the threats being validated by the hotel and actual police. There is no one individual who reported the threats to the hotel, as it seems to have come from all sides. Everyone shares the blame. There is no cartoonish villain here. These are just the things that I have observed. In the end, I'm just a lemur watching the human shit show from afar and taking notes. Good night.